It's a bit crispy today. Yeah, but I mean, Phoenix is 117, so I'll take that. 100 degrees any day. So in the shop, what are we? Oh, about 96-ish. Yeah, cooler than outside. Nice cool breeze blowing off the portico, so that makes it nice. Sorry about the glare, but Nancy and I have been estate sailing again. I got this brand new Hitachi CW40 variable speed scroll saw, including LED light, for a giveaway price. Now, I don't feature woodworking on this channel. It's metalworking and, you know, scrap and all that kind of stuff. Although I do a fair bit of woodworking. And I've got a chop saw, table saw, and all the various hand power tools and hand tools and such. But woodworking is not what this channel is about. But I wanted to show you this. And I also got a pile of scrap wood to go with it. I've got a project for this right away. I scored a vintage International Harvester toolbox. I've got to oil up the hinges because they're a bit crusty, and I got to do a little repair work to the lid here, but no big deal. These had a wood bottom in it, and of course this one is missing, which you can see where one was fastened to the base. And of course, since this has radius corners, that's where that is going to come into play. Unfortunately, I didn't get the oil can with it, so I'm on the hunt for an International Harvester oil can that fits this toolbox here. And hang on, sorry for the crappy camera work, Arco. Looks like it's going to be a 3-inch diameter, maybe a little under, oil can. Well, that's about 3 1/16 OD. So 3-inch oil can will just squeeze in there. But not the kind with the, sorry, my finger's in the way, with the pump handle. It's just a straight oil can where you push the bottom, and the bottom oil cans, as it were, to pump oil. But this score is going to go right here on the pump jack trailer. I'll screw it down to the wood deck, and I'll have a toolbox and an oil can. The oil can to service all of the rotating toys on this thing. And yeah, and speaking of pump jack trailer, it's time for the pig. Let's prep to bring this thing into the shop and start plumbing. But real quick, before we do that, I got to show you one more thing. This awesome brass blowtorch. You know, I think if I put some white gas in that thing, it would work. Fire right up. Very beautiful piece. I'll polish that up, put it on the shelf with the other one hiding way up there. I got a couple more in the garage sitting on top of my glass covered bookshelf that shows that displays all my tractor and engine collection books. I'll probably bring them out here as well. But I had the two smaller sizes to this, and then of course the one I just showed you up on the shelf, the larger size, but I didn't have this mid-range size. Now I do. All right, enough gabbing, enough dinking around. Let's get the pump jack trailer in here. First order of business, I got to remove this ball valve. Then I'll take that nipple off the head of the Curtis air compressor. I'm going to reuse this ball valve temporarily. I don't have a chain pull valve yet for the air whistles, so I'll just have to utilize that ball valve for now. And then later on, I'll add those pull chain valves for activating the air whistles. So I'm kind of eyeballing these dimensions. We're going to be screwing into the head 3/4 of an inch. Coming out here about 11 1/4, plus the throw of the elbow. That's going to go down. So I'll cut it about 12 1/2, and then we'll see how it works. So I deburred the outside and the inside of the pipe, then I blew it out with compressed air. So I'm going to get the pipe threader set up here, get some oil out, and let's see if I can't thread this pipe. First time I've done this. I'm a tin bender. I'm not a plumber, so all you guys with a plumbing background, don't laugh too hard. So I did a little research on YouTube, and the general consensus is plenty of cutting oil is the rule. So that's what we're going to do here. Let's see how this goes. Well, seems to be threading, cutting just fine. But I am going to see if I can get this die a little tighter in the handle here. Well, I have to say, it's cutting pipe threads real nice. I think I paid 50 or 60 bucks for this threader at Harbor Freight. They got a power one too, but you know, there's a little pipe threading as I'm going to do. The hand operated one is plenty, but it's cutting threads real nice. So I'll bring you back when it's all done. Well, let's do a test fit here. I'll have to blow out the swarf with compressed air. Hey, success. All right. So the Harbor Freight pipe threader is a success. So I cleaned everything up with super clean inside and out, rinsed it off with water, and blew it off with compressed air. So I'll get the pipe dope out, dope this up, and we will install it in the head of the air compressor. So my friends that are in the know tell me, since these threads are tapered, you don't really crank them down super tight because they can expand the female side of this thing and actually split the fitting you're screwing into. And I certainly don't want to split the head of that air compressor. So good and snug is the rule, and then check for leaks afterwards. Here we go. First fitting. Probably put too much pipe dope on there, but I'll wipe the excess off with a rag and we'll call it good. All right, we're going to call that right there. Time to prep the pilot valve or unloader valve. The Curtis air compressor has unloader functionality on it, but that's just for primarily engaging the compressor itself, so it doesn't have to compress air and spin over at the same time to get started up. So it has an automatic unloader on it. This is for the tank. So I want to get the compressor going and get everything spinning up good before I engage the tank, which this little valve does right here. When you want to start compressing air into the tank, you just pull that down and then it'll start to pressurize the tank. So for cranking up those old LB engines and getting air started, I'll make sure that everything's unloaded, and then we'll flip the levers and start compressing air once everything's up and spinning good. I really don't like using a bunch of fittings. As you remember in my last video, I was whining and complaining about not being able to get 3/4 inch fittings for my 3/4 inch pilot valve. So it is what it is. I got to use extra fittings to get this all to go together. I got to be really careful. These black iron pipe fittings is all I could get, and I'm screwing them into brass, so I got to be real careful I don't split this brass fittings here. There you can get a little better view of what's going on here. Now this union here can accept a 3/4 inch coupling and then connect to 3/4 inch pipe. I got to put the associated fitting on this, and I'll do that off camera. It's the same thing I did here. So, well, I can't say I really like the way this looks because it's not a clean transition, but it is what it is, and considering what is going on, I'll live with it. So now it's time to get this over on the pump jack trailer. You know, I forgot to show you guys in the last video my estate sale railroad anvil. So I've added another tool to the metal shaping horde, and it's a little rough. It's mostly been torch shaped, as you can see, but I have methods of cleaning that all up. Surface a little rust here, so I'll have to sand that down, because all these kind of marks will transfer right over to any kind of metal you're shaping. So, but yeah, I thought that was cool. Figured I'd share it. I've got a really short nipple installed on the top of this thing, so I wanted to get this unloader valve here, that unloader switch, up high so I'm not reaching through or too close to spinning belts while I'm trying to get this thing all going. So yeah, what's going on here? There we go. Think right about there. I can get right at that lever without getting too close to the belt. I like that. I'm going to snake this next piece in here, and hold it up a little higher. I'm going to put a mark right there at the edge of that bell transition piece, and then I'm going to cut it off 3/4 of an inch farther up from that mark, because that's what I'm going to thread to screw into that fitting there. As far as the cutting and the threading and all that, I'll do that off camera because you already saw me do that once. No point in boring you with redundant, repetitive detail. Oh, come on. Well, I've got the first goof of this project. This is too long. I forgot. Got to come out of here, up, elbow back, come over, elbow that way, and then tie in with that elbow. So what I think I'll do, I've got a union, a coupling. I think I will build from the tank to at least there, then I can get a good height and then recut that guy right there. Oops. Okay, I got this stuff all cut and dry fitted together, and got a union here that's flexible on both sides. So I'm up off the frame. Looks like to the bottom of the elbow, 3.5 inches. Ooh, shaky cam, sorry about that. 3.5 inches. That one is flush to the bottom of the frame. So I got to cut 3.5 inches off that length and re-thread it. Put it back in, and then I'll measure a piece to go between here and there, and I'll have to fit it from that direction, come this way, otherwise I'll have a dead connection. That's what this guy is for here, to prevent any dead connections. So yeah, a little setback, but nothing serious, you know. All right, I got that cut, re-threaded, and reinstalled. Now it's at the same height as this over here. So I measured in between those two elbows, and got that piece cut. I still got to thread it, but I'm getting tired. I'm going to go in for dinner and pick this up again tomorrow, which is just going to be a couple seconds for you guys. By the way, for those of you that think I've committed sacrilege by buying new pipe fittings, I'll just let you know that about 85% of this whole plumbing project is done with scrap pipe and a few scrap fittings. So I still think I'm within my boundaries. All right, that pipe is now installed. So now elbow, and we're coming this way. Hopefully everything lines up. Well, we'll get some pipe dope on this joint. I'm trying to expedite this project as quick as I can because I got a Power from the Past event day after tomorrow, in which the pump jack trailer is going to be featured. Some of you would say, well, Matt, if you don't get it all done today, work on it tomorrow. Well, ordinarily that would be true, except tomorrow is Nancy and my 45th wedding anniversary. So you can pretty much determine who's calling the shots for tomorrow. I think I'm gonna have to build a standoff here just for a little extra rigid support. If it was all black iron pipe all the way back to the air compressor, I don't think I'd worry about it. But right in the middle of that, I got that brass unloader valve. I don't want to put too much strain on it. So I'm going to have to be really careful with that thing. Don't want to be busting any brass fittings, if you know what I mean. Well, I hope I've got this coupling figured out. I can work in two directions without a dead connection, and hook the pipe up to both points. That's my hope anyway. We'll see how successful I am. I think my plan is actually gonna work. Sorry, you can't see through my, whoops, my fat hands here. There. Get some wrenches on that and tighten it up. Well, get the big Mongo crescent wrench here, adjustable wrench, spanner, whatever you want to call it. You know, I should have been a farmer instead of a shipyard worker, because when you're a farmer, you're automatically a mechanic, a welder, electrician, a plumber, an agricultural engineer. I mean, there's a million hats farmers wear, and me, I went the industrial route, and all I am is a tin bender. But in all seriousness, I mean, our farmers are the lifeblood of this country. Any country. If you don't have ag, if you don't have farmers, you don't eat. Period. End of story. So, for all my farmer and rancher fellow YouTubers, thank you for what you do. Okay. I'm going to wipe the excess pipe dope off of all of this so I don't get it all over myself, and then we'll move to the discharge side. Sorry about the air compressor. So this T is going to screw onto that nipple that I just screwed into the back side of the pig. And this is the downside where I'm going to put a drain cock so I can drain the tank at the end of the event, or moisture. that accumulates like you do with any other air compressor. Oop, slipping. I have to say, I've had a lot of fun creating this pig. It really hasn't generated much in the way of views for the channel, but I really don't care. I've been having fun doing this, and you know, the few viewers that have enjoyed it have said as much in the comments. So for you handful of people that have been enjoying this pig project, thanks for sticking around. Okay, I've got to come up to about here, put that ball valve in, then come up some more, elbow that way, and then add a couple of air whistles on the top, and then go on out and down the backside and figure out a way to attach it to the frame back there. And that should wrap it up. So let me get my thinking cap on here and find my sketch where I sketched all this out, and then go from there. Sometimes I'm a little slow on the uptake, but all of this piping is going to match the exhaust piping on the LB engines. So yeah, that's going to be cool. So like I said, I'm going to use this ball valve temporarily until I can get some pull chain valves. Those things are spendy. I looked them up. They're like $70 a piece, something like that. So I'm gonna have to save some shekels before I go buying those. But this ball valve will work just fine in the meantime. A little bit more. Close enough. I'm definitely going to have to add some bracing to all of this. Not so much when this thing is sitting stationary at a show running, but when I'm going down the road, towing this thing, hitting bumps and everything else. It's definitely going to need some bracing to help hold this together. Know me, I'll hit a big chuck hole and this thing will shake, rattle, and roll and bust all the joint fittings. Yeah. There's that. So this T-fitting here is going to install here. I don't have the right fittings to adapt the whistle that's going here to this T right now, so I just got a pipe plug in it temporarily until I can get to the hardware store and get the right brass fitting to adapt that whistle to this T fitting. So I'm going to install this, and we'll continue on getting the last leg of this thing on here. Well, if you want to trash a shop fast, thread some pipe. Makes a glorious mess. Well, that's got it. I got all that installed, got the last leg. I just got it sitting on a chunk of flat bar right now. So tomorrow's task is to come up with some bracing to sturdy this thing up. I mean, it's not bad, but going down the road it's going to rattle too much, and so I want to brace it up. And of course that shouldn't be too hard to do. I got enough scrap laying around here, but I'm going to wrap it up today. We got some ugly weather about to hit, and I got to batten down the hatches.